Good morning and welcome to Touch the Sky with Doc. Excuse me, this morning I want to talk to you about a subject that I've been pretty excited about addressing for myself, and I hope that what I've determined for myself will also encourage you. And the subject is you're better than that. And the way that I came to this subject was I was just thinking about my life and the areas of my life and places of my life where I chose to not be me to make other people happy or to do things to make other people content. And what I found was even when I made those choices or decisions, it still wasn't good enough. And so at the end of it, nobody was happy. They were still upset, and I'm upset because the efforts that I made no difference. And so this morning I want to talk to you all and encourage you to make decisions that start off with helping you, because if you can't help you, you can't help anyone else. That doesn't mean that you're not supposed to be there for people, but you can't be there for someone when you can't be there for yourself. And so I wanted to give you some thoughts that I found, and hopefully they encourage you like they encouraged me. The first one that I found was that emotional people make emotional decisions. And the problem with that is when you're done being emotional, you can't unwind the emotional decisions that you made. And the long-lasting effect of those continue on even after the words have been said or the deed has been done. The second is hurting people hurt people. If you look around in society, it's hard for someone who's hurting to be encouraging to someone else. And usually those people lash out. And so I'm bringing this to your attention to say to you, you're better than that. I'm better than that. I'm able to, or I should be able to address myself when I know that I'm falling or I know that I'm entering into a space that is not good for me or anyone else. And so I want to challenge you to think about a couple things and see if they apply to you. Why is it that most people are not content with themselves? And I'd like to suggest to you that the first reason for that is false expectations. We create expectations based and predicated on what others think we ought to do and what others think we ought to be. And if you don't know what makes you happy, how can someone else tell you what makes you happy? The next thing is, what do you do after someone has rejected you or made you feel rejected and you've given them the best you have? The answer is, learn how to shake it off. Someone's opinion should not shape how you see yourself. The next is, I want to challenge you to hear the heart of what I'm going to say. And that is, just because someone's kind to you doesn't mean that they care. It just means that they're kind. So stop reading into the things that they do and the things that they say. I'd like to ask you a question, and I think when I give you my response, you'll understand it, is why do we ask people how they feel about us when they're happy or in a good place? And can I suggest to you that the reason that we do that is when we were young, we learned very early in life that when your parents were angry or the authority in your life was angry, you didn't ask them a question because you knew the end result would not be what you were looking for generally. And that carries over into the rest of your life, where you and I get into a place where, you're in a relationship or whatever it may be, and you all and I know that you don't ask someone who you're in a relationship with, how do they feel when they're angry? You wait till they're in a good place, and you wait until they're smiling or happy. But if you really want to know how someone feels, ask them in the middle of their anger. Ask them in the middle of their rage, because that's where you're going to find the truth. You're going to find what they really believe in the midst of their anger. Now here's the part that I want to challenge you. Stop being so arrogant not to believe what you hear. Stop being so arrogant not to believe what you hear. It's easy for someone to correct something after the fact, but it's harder for you to deny it after you've heard it. So stop being arrogant and giving someone the benefit of the doubt when they've said exactly what it is that they feel and they had no filter. It doesn't make them bad. It doesn't make them mean. It just means that they've been hiding how they feel from you. And now you have the opportunity to assess it for yourself and address it in a way that makes things good for you. The next thing is pay attention to the things that are unpleasant. It's easy to see the rose, but most of us don't want to pay attention to the fact that that rose is surrounded by thorns. There are two types of people that know how to avoid hurt. The first is someone who experienced hurt at their own expense. And the second is a person who inflicted the hurt on others. Which one are you? Because I believe that you're better than that, and you should believe that about yourself. There's nothing wrong with assessing someone's motivations. The question is, what will you do when you really see what they're all about? You're better than that. Don't deny what you see. It may hurt. It may sting. But if someone doesn't care, they don't care. And you can't make them change that. And I think we've all made that mistake that, I can love them through it, or, if I just care a little bit more. It doesn't matter how much you care for someone if they don't want to care for themselves. It doesn't matter how much you want to love someone if they won't learn how to love themselves. Because I believe you're better than that, stop asking people for advice that have not been where you're going. Some things were meant for you to figure out on your own. So stop asking people for advice. Stop. If you're in a relationship, don't ask someone who's been through 10 relationships what they should do, what you should do in the relationship you're in. Because clearly they don't have the formula. If they've been in 10 relationships and you've been in the same one, what advice can they give you? I'm using a relationship as an example. We can take it to finances. Don't go ask someone who stays broke. And I'm not downing someone who doesn't have a lot of money. My point is that if they're not good managers of their money, how can they tell you how to manage your money? You don't go to an airplane pilot to show you how to just pick something out of the air, do the plumbing in your house, or grade your house and build a new house. That's not his specialty. His specialty is piloting. He flies planes. So why would you go to him when you need to build a foundation to build a house? You wouldn't. Common sense tells you that you wouldn't. So why would you then involve people in areas of their life that you know they're not qualified to be? Can I suggest to you? Sometimes it's just low self-esteem. Other times it's just because we feel like that we don't have anywhere to go. And can I tell you, sometimes the greatest gifts of life come when you realize that you can't rely on anyone else but you. And once you accept that, you can accept other people for what they have to offer that may help you tangibly to accomplish your goal. But they can't give you everything that you need because your scenario is different than theirs. Everyone's scenario is different. We're all trying to get to the same place, finding our purpose in this life. But all of us are going to get there a different way. So a formula that works for one person is not necessarily going to work for you. And don't let someone try to pigeonhole you into operating the way that they do. You're better than that. You're unique. You were built to be unique. So why would you want to be a follower and a copycat? Why wouldn't you want to expand the greatness that's been put inside you? And that greatness comes with a cost. There's an old saying that says greatness carries its own issues. So you don't have to add any more. Just the fact that you're trying to be better is going to bring issues your way. The next that I want to encourage you, because I know and believe in my heart that you're better than the way you've allowed yourself to be. And I don't mean on a consistent basis, but inconsistently. So you need to learn how to be consistently you. Even when you know it's going to make someone else mad, even when you know it's going to create an issue, you need to learn how to be consistently you. Because real love will love you even when you don't agree. Real love will stand by you even when everyone else wants to avoid you. So learn how to be consistently you and watch those who are inconsistent walk away. Because I believe that you are better than that, I'd like to also say to you, when things are good, don't be content. I'm sorry. When things are good, learn to be content, but not secure. Don't get so comfortable that you're not striving to be better. When things are good, you should be content. Learn to be content, but not secure. Continue to strive. A complete person is wise in speech and in action. A complete person is wise in speech and in action. In other words, do your words match the things that you do? And listen, just in life in and of itself, consistency is a hard place to be. And understanding that requires discipline. So I need you to work on being consistent. I know you can do it. I know you have the ability to be consistent. You just have to desire to be consistent. Here's the last thing I want to talk to you about is worry. Dr. Walter Carver talked about a study that said that 8% of the things that you and I worry about are legitimate. The other 92% was imaginary, never happened, or involved things that couldn't be controlled by you. Let me say that again. In this study, 8% of the things that you worry about are legitimate. 92% of them are imaginary, never happened, or involve things that you couldn't control or I couldn't control. Someone once said that worry is the tension between the mind and the heart. That worry is the tension between the mind and the heart. In other words, it's an internal conflict on what to do and how to do it. So with those things being said, I believe that today will be the first day of the best day of the rest of your life, because you're better. Not just in that, but you're just better, period, than you give yourself credit for. Stop looking for other people's validation. Learn to accept you for you. And you were meant to be different. You weren't meant to be a source of things to make other people happy. You were meant to be a source of being able to bring not only yourself but other people to a higher level of living and of purpose and of growth. So you're better than that. Begin to live in that. Learn to love and live consistently. Love yourself and consistently strive to grow. And if you do those things, you'll be able to touch the sky.